the Ethiopian government has developed comprehensive agriculture and economic development plans that have contributed to the country's substantial growth in agriculture, industry, and service sectors. These efforts have been accelerated over the past couple of years through an unprecedented economic reform process that seeks to build on the country's tremendous growth in the number, diversity, and market share of private businesses in the Ethiopian economy. Agriculture, manufacturing, tourism, mining, and ICT, painting a picture of a nation ripe with untapped potential and brimming with opportunities. Ethiopia, often hailed as a light of African resilience and growth, stands at pivotal juncture. Coffee production in Ethiopia is a long-standing tradition which dates back dozens of centuries. Ethiopia is where coffee Arabica, the coffee plant, originates. Recently, Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed says the country has doubled its annual coffee production from 500,000 tons to over 1 million tons within the past 5 years, despite challenge. The Prime Minister also appreciated all stakeholders in the success of the coffee production and called on the stakeholders to strengthen the effort in the sector. Approached by OBN Horn of Africa, Ethiopian Coffee and Tea Authority Director General Adugna Debela said the export of Ethiopia's coffee has doubled due to the efforts of strengthening the value chain.
Ethiopian coffee export has earned about 1.4 billion USD. And the main reason, and there are the factors behind these achievements, are a number of activities are done. One of them is Ethiopia Coffee and Tea Authority has reformed its coffee value chain, or the marketing structure of the coffee. And in the previous case, there are a number of non-value adding steps between the farmer and the exporters, in such a way that the volume decreases, the quality deteriorates, as well as the payback to the farmer is not sufficient enough, and that discourages the farmer. So what we did is we reduced this long value chain and identified the main important actors in the value chain: the farmer, supplier, and also the exporter. So the farmers, they are allowed to supply coffee to the supplier, and the supplier to directly to the exporter. So this the value chain is reduced, the efficiency is improved, the quality is improved, and in this allowed us to get sufficient amount of foreign currency from exporting about 300,000 metric tons. This is one of the activity. The other most important activity that we've done is there is a very coordinated activities that we are undertaking with a number of partners, with a number of stakeholders, and every day now and then any problems that the exporters are encountering is immediately solved by the different partners. So these are also some of the activities have been done in order to achieve this very high and record high foreign currency earnings.
In the development of Ethiopia's coffee production paradigm shift, farmers, exporters, and associations for their outstanding contribution to the production and export of Ethiopia's coffee. With a clear vision and unwavering commitment, Ethiopia's coffee sector is poised for continued growth and prosperity. Of the stakeholders, Robera PLC is playing its part in the overall development of the sector. Speaking to OBN Horn of Africa, Chief Executive Officer of Robera PLC, Robera Abraham said, as a stakeholder, Robera is working, expanding to training institute and tourism services.
Our main focus has been into the value addition of coffee. As a roaster and exporter, we've been doing this business for the past 18 years. But in addition to all this, especially our farming endeavor, what we've been focusing on is establishing our own training institute as well as a tourism service. So the training institute is geared more towards raising the floor and the ceiling of the Ethiopian coffee industry, because with addition of knowledge that we've gained over the past 30 years, we believe that we can impart and create the next generation of exporters, cuppers, baristas, and anybody interested in the coffee business. The tourism aspect of it, we're more focused on providing coffee not just as a product, but as an experience. So our location here in Addis is about 5 kilometers from Bole International Airport. So the new terminal is expected to welcome about 25 million visitors every year, out of which 5 million are transit. So instead of them going to the other end of Addis, we'd like to have foreign guests come, tour our facilities, 1 hour, 2 hour tour and taste program, where they can obtain a certificate of participation with our training institute. And finally, for those visitors that are planning to stay for a longer term, we would like them to not just visit Ethiopia as a whole, but follow coffee along the historical routes of coffee until it's left Harar, and then we can circle back around to Addis Ababa, where our headquarters is, and they can they can view the processing and the production of coffee as it is in the Ethiopian industry. A lot of our female citizens here in Ethiopia, they're forced to go to Arab countries, to the Gulf area, looking for jobs as housemaids and the like. But we believe that if we can impart this knowledge for them, and especially the barista training, we believe that not only can we export these students to carry the Ethiopian tradition and the Robera brand for their coffee education out there, but also we believe that by integrating these students and collecting them all together, we can provide them an opportunity to begin their own cafe, to begin their own coffee business based on the knowledge that they've gained from Robera. So in terms of solving the unemployment rate amongst women and youth, this is the strategy that we're taking, especially by providing them the technical knowledge. And soon we'll begin importing of coffee machinery, which we can provide to them on a lease basis as well. So they can work for 5 years and repay us the money later on. But the matter now is making sure that these students are masters of their own revenue.
Dr. Adugna further explained that focusing on quality high-yield varieties rather than volume of the coffee has shown significant results, adding that cupping centers, which are expanded close to farmers on various areas.
On how to improve the quality is, as coffee producing country and a country which is competing in the international market, we need to focus not only on the volume, but also on the quality of coffees that we produce. Most of the coffees that we produce are old coffee. And this time we've started to mobilize the mobilization process, in which case we remove the old coffee trees and plant with high yield quality varieties. So this is also an attempt in order to improve the quality of coffee. The other one is we have opened up, as an authority, we have opened up our cupping center to quite close to the farmer. Now we have a cupping center at Mattu, at Badele, Bonga. We have Jimma, Hawassa, and we're going to open a cupping center at Bulehora, Dilla, Mizan, and Tepi. So we are quite close to, if we are coming close to the farmers, we teach them how to produce a very good quality. And at the same time, we test and give grade for the coffee that is produced from that specific area. We recognize these suppliers, farmers, and also the exporters in front of our Prime Minister as the guest of honor. And the Prime Minister asked the stakeholders, we have a potential and we have not yet exploited it. And this untapped resource can be further exploited if we jointly work together. And so the Prime Minister asked them to really work hand in hand in order to further export too much amount of coffee and secure more than 2 billion USD for this year. We have a platform where we meet every week with this stakeholder, and not only the supplier, exporter, and also the farmers, but also partners like the National Bank, the Custom, the Transport and Logistic Minister, the Maritime, Ethiopia. We have a weekly platform where we meet and discuss all the details. So these stakeholders are part and parcel of this platform, and they raise the problems that they actually face within their week. And all the stakeholders within the platform are there to solve the problems that usually the exporter or suppliers come across. So in this case, we work together in order to facilitate and make everything easy for them to export coffee. As an authority, we have branches down to the farmer level, and we're closely working with regions and also zonal administratives. So we're giving them training, support them in providing inputs, and we find market for them and also organize some sort of exhibitions in order to at least bring to the attention of the farmer on how to market the international system. So this kind of collaboration need to be continued ahead. And this supports the farmer to produce high-end quality coffee. At this moment, the Oromia government is really doing its level best in order to produce a very good quality coffee, because we launched a coffee quality declaration in Nagant with His Excellency the President Shivalis Abdisa and his team. Now they are busy working on how to further improve and support the farmer. So the farmers who are producing coffee from decade, if they got the chance to be supported, they produce a high-end quality coffee and enter into market. And this will entirely boost our coffee export as well as the foreign currency earnings that we are expecting.
Robera Coffee Training Institute is dedicated to fostering a deep understanding and appreciation of coffee through comprehensive education and hands-on training. The institute is a licensed educational center specialized TVET and short-term coffee certificate programs. These are meticulously designed to not only impart essential coffee knowledge, but also to enhance career opportunities within the coffee industry. Coffee processing educator at Robera Coffee Institute, Branu Gazan, stated that the aim is to equip the next generation coffee exporters with proper knowledge of quality coffee production, variety, and its processing methods.
The aim is producing more quality coffee for the country, but even the company also, if the production is doubled, the company also benefited from that. But when we want to increase production, you have to think first the variety you use, the territory you grow, and the processing method you use to produce quality coffee, a more productivity way. That's why we want to educate or extend coffee processing as a training topics.
Coffee production, variety, and processing method students, for their part, stress the need to have a clear and good understanding of coffee processing proceedings to get the most out of the sector.
First of all, I had the ambition to know about coffee, and when I was looking at different types of institutes where to get this knowledge, I came across in search of the website that I came across to Robera Coffee Institute, and to cross-check whether this coffee institute gives what is given in the website. I asked some people if they know about this institute, and they also told me that this is a very fantastic institute. Then I came to take my training here. I think to do something in a better way, that knowledge is necessary. And the coffee industry is now being innovative. So for people to go to the coffee industry, I'm not saying I will be for sure going to the coffee industry, but for people who want to go to the coffee industry, I think it's good to have some at least basic knowledge of the coffee industry. What coffee quality, what type of, who are the players of the coffee industry. So having this knowledge will help someone to really navigate through the coffee industry in the world.
I've always been interested in coffee. My family worked in coffee exports for about 30 years now. So as soon as I finished school, I wanted to help them out, and then I wanted to learn more about what the work is and what the industry is. So that's why I joined this class, so I can have more understanding. I think like Ethiopia is in luck, because I believe that we have the best coffee, especially like in different areas. So our company focuses on Sidama, and it's around Dayabensa, right? So this coffee are very fruity and their flavor is amazing. So I believe like Ethiopia can use, the quality she has to export to other countries and, to benefit from this luck or nature. I believe people need to get educated about every step of the supply chain, from starting from like the farm all the way to export or all the way to, a cup of coffee that we have every day. I feel like that will help the, the society or the people that work in the industry. So I think that's a plus. My goal is hopefully expanding my family's business to a bigger place, not just exporting from here, Ethiopia, but also to export for other countries and be able to spread Ethiopian coffee to different continents.
እኔ ወደ ቡና ስራ ለመግባት እያሰብኩ almost ወደዛ መንገድ ላይ ስለሆንኩኝ
I am planning to join coffee sector. I believe that having a good understanding of coffee quality all the way from production to the export would enable me to be successful in the business as well, contribute my part in the coffee business in the country.
Quality እንዴት update እንደምናደርግ እንዴት እንደምናሳድግ እንማራለን.
We are learning on ways of improving quality of coffee. I am in coffee business, but I don't really know how to increase coffee quality. I believe the training will enable me to have a knowledge in coffee processing.
Dr. Adugna further explains that the commitment of the government in liberalizing the coffee sector would enable those who want to join the industry to get the best out of the sector, as well contribute their part in the country's economic growth.
Ethiopia coffee and the coffee from Ethiopia is not easy to differentiate because coffee is a human, it's our culture, it's also our social fabric, and it's also our beyond our economy, and more than 25% of our population are entirely their livelihood is entirely depending on coffee. So it's not only about the culture, it's not only about the social, it's beyond that. And Ethiopia is known in the world by the brand name of Ethiopian coffee. And the Ethiopia is also the birthplace and the genetic diversity of Arabica coffee. So it's not easy really to differentiate Ethiopia from coffee and the coffee from Ethiopia. The country has its own policy for production, exports, and also marketing. The old policies that we were using for decades were not, it was not really very encouraging for the farmer and the supplier and the exporter to export coffee and even to produce coffee, because the farmers were not allowed to export coffee to the international market. They were allowed only to sell coffee at their farm gate level. And that's to mean that they do not have any bargaining power on the price negotiation. This discouraged the farmers, and then the farmers uprooted their coffee and planted chats or eucalyptus trees. But this policy needs to be reformed, and as a government, we managed to reform that policy. If the farmer is able to produce high quality, high volume coffee, why should we stop them not to export to international market? Why should we force them to sell at their farm gate level? Why do we really snatch their bargaining power? So this kind of discussion were taken into consideration, and now the policy has been reformed that created a very enabling environment for the farmer to export directly to the international market. Some of the farmers who got recognition last year are some of the exporters who used this opportunity to export coffee. This time it's okay. And now the government has already liberalized to produce coffee for the investors to produce coffee or to invest in coffee or to directly buy coffee and export to the international market. This time that's okay, but the previous policy was not encouraging for the farmer, particularly the FOB price that was paid back to the farmer was not more than 40%. This time, after the policy has been reformed, the payback of the farmer increased from 40% to 80-90%. And if you go to Ilwababor or if you go to Jimma, you can find the farmers who are currently producing coffee in cluster. This is also one of the indications that the policies that have been reformed already is very enabling and supports them to produce or to engage themselves into coffee production. The most important and quite challenging problem in Ethiopian coffee market is illegal trade and contraband, because Ethiopia is consuming the largest proportion of coffee here in the country. And there is always competition between the international markets and the local market. And the farmers or suppliers or the smugglers who are actually doing on this, getting themselves engaged on this kind of illegal trade, they usually reduce the quality as well as the volume of coffees that we export to international market. As Ethiopian Coffee and Tea Authority, we developed a technology for application, in which case a coffee from the Warada part is escorted to Djibouti, so that once it is in our system, it cannot go anywhere. Because it's easy to track and trace exactly where that coffee is coming and where that coffee is going. But if they are not willing to register that coffee into our own system, it's not no way that we can trace them. But this time, we significantly reduced the amount of illegal trade and also as well as the contraband. Another important is that there is a team following this illegal trade and contraband, like, for example, the Addis Ababa police, Oromia police, Ethiopia Coffee and Tea Authority, the custom. So we work together and follow up day to day on hunting these illegal and contraband coffees that are actually coming to Addis. This time, the government has reformed the economy, and that economy also favors the export, not the local and the legal trade. And this is also another approach that the macroeconomic reform is brought to change and reduce the amount of what you call it, the illegal trade and contraband. So these are some of the procedures or some of the activities that we have taken so far in order to reduce the illegal trade and contraband. For coffee to be produced and exported, still the potential is there, and we have not yet exploited this untapped resource. And the policy which has been reformed right now is quite enabling and is creating very enabling environment for all stakeholders along the value chain. So being the illegal trade and contraband is also counteracted by the currently reformed policy and market economy. So there is high chance for the farmer, supplier, and exporter to export and compete in the international market and get benefit out of that. And let's stick to this policy. Let's stick to this very enabling environments and work together so that Ethiopia can benefit from coffee. And we're going to be, I'm sure that we're going to be the second or the third largest coffee producer in the world. This time, now we are the third country producing the highest coffee volume after Brazil and Vietnam. And we will be catching Vietnam in very soon if we keep on doing that in this kind of continuation system.